8 o'clock in the morning. Emily Smith was wiping down the crystal table in the living room when she saw 5 luxury cars pulling up to the gate. After 4 months of working at the Whitmore mansion, she knew this day would be different. Upstairs, William Whitmore pointed through the window to his 8-year-old son, Mason. "Son, the 5 ladies we talked about have arrived. They'll be staying here with us for 30 days. Mason looked at the elegant women getting out of the cars. "And at the end, I have to choose one to be my new mom. Right, Dad?" "That's right. They're very well-educated women from important families. I'm sure you'll like them." "What if I don't like any of them?" "You will. They can give you a proper education, take you to see the world." The sound of shattering glass echoed through the entire house, followed by a furious scream. "Stupid housekeeper! You broke my expensive crystal!" William and Mason looked at each other, startled. "What was that, Dad?" "I don't know, kiddo. Let's go see what's going on." Father and son rushed downstairs. In the living room, a shocking scene. Emily on her knees picking up pieces, her finger bleeding. A tall brunette with crossed arms was glaring at her with disgust. That glass was imported crystal. It cost more than her entire annual salary. "It was an accident," Emily murmured without lifting her head. "An accident?" The woman laughed sarcastically. "People like you shouldn't even touch expensive things." "Excuse me, what's going on here?" William interrupted. The brunette turned with a fake smile. "Oh, William, I'm Victoria Blackwood. I just arrived and your housekeeper already broke my crystal glass." The other 4 women entered, stopped and stared at Emily on the floor. "Oh my goodness, what a situation," commented a thin blonde. "Miranda Holloway, pleasure to meet you." "Accidents happen," said William, trying to calm things down. "They happen to people without proper breeding," Miranda shot back, looking directly at Emily. "A refined person knows how to handle fine things." Mason came out from behind his father and ran to Emily. "Em, are you hurt?" Emily looked up for the first time. There were tears she was holding back. "It's nothing, sweetheart. Just a little scratch." "Sweetheart?" Victoria raised an eyebrow. What kind of familiarity is this? William saw he needed to take control of the situation. "Since you're all here, let's introduce ourselves properly. This is Emily, our housekeeper, and you are the candidates." Victoria stepped forward. "Victoria Blackwood, old money family from New York, graduated from Columbia in international relations." "Miranda Holloway, model and influencer. I've lived in Paris." A brunette with glasses spoke. "Vanessa Harrington, attorney, Columbia Law School graduate." "Serena Kensington, dermatologist," said a redhead. "I have a practice on the Upper East Side." "Clarissa Westwood, architect," the last one completed. Throughout all this, they ignored Emily as if she were invisible. The housekeeper stayed next to Mason, still holding the bloody cloth. "Very well," said William. "For the next 30 days, you'll be living here. At the end, Mason chooses who I'd like to marry." "And the help?" asked Victoria. "Will she continue working here?" "Of course. Emily's been working here for 4 months." Miranda exchanged glances with Vanessa. "We just hope she knows her place." William frowned. "What do you mean by that?" "Nothing serious," said Vanessa quickly. "Just that it's good to keep things organized, you know? Everyone in their proper place." Mason pulled Emily's hand. "Em, come see the drawing I made." "Not now, Mason," Serena cut in. "Your housekeeper needs to clean up this mess she made." "But she's hurt." "It's okay, sweetheart," Emily said gently. "I'll clean this up real quick and then look at your drawing, all right?" Victoria observed with narrowed eyes. Interesting familiarity. After lunch, the 5 gathered on the terrace to strategize. Each had brought expensive gifts. "I brought an imported tablet," said Victoria, pulling it from her designer bag. "Latest model, with games." I was thinking of a trip to Disney, Miranda mentioned. I have contacts there. Vanessa opened her leather portfolio. Education is fundamental. I've researched the best private schools in Manhattan. Health can't be neglected, said Serena. I've scheduled appointments with the top pediatricians in the city. Clarissa showed architectural plans. I'm going to redesign his room, something more sophisticated. All satisfied with their plans, Mason appeared on the terrace, somewhat shy. "Hi, Mason, darling," Victoria exclaimed, with an exaggerated smile. "Look what I brought you." She showed the tablet. His eyes lit up for a second, then returned to normal. "Thank you." "And how about Disney?" suggested Miranda, crouching down. "Would you like that?" "I guess so." He responded politely but without enthusiasm. Anyone could see he wasn't having fun. Then Emily appeared with a tray of juices and cookies. "Afternoon snack time." Mason's face changed completely. A genuine smile emerged. "Em, did you make those cinnamon cookies?" "I sure did, sweetheart. And look." She pulled colored paper from the tray. "I brought new paper for us to make origami." "Really? What colors do you have?" "Blue, red, yellow, all the ones you asked for." Mason clapped his hands, truly excited for the first time. The five observed in silence. It was impossible not to see the difference. "We'll do it after homework, right, Em? Will you help me with math?" "Of course I will." Miranda cleared her throat. "Mason, dear, don't you think you should try more appropriate activities? Sports, foreign languages." "I like origami," Mason said simply. Vanessa exchanged glances with the others. That closeness definitely wasn't normal. After dinner, with Mason asleep and William in his study, the five gathered in the living room. "Ladies, we need to talk," Victoria whispered. "About what?" asked Serena, but they all knew. "About this inappropriate situation with the help." Clarissa looked around. "Did you see how Mason reacts when she appears?" "It's very concerning," Vanessa agreed. "An 8-year-old shouldn't have this kind of familiarity with staff." Miranda shook her head. "This confuses his understanding of social hierarchy." "Exactly," said Serena. "From a medical standpoint, it's unhealthy. Mason needs to understand his place in society." "And her place," Victoria added coldly. Vanessa pulled out a leather notebook from her bag. "My family has always had staff. The rule is crystal clear. Know your place." "This Emily doesn't get that," said Miranda. "She acts like she's family." "Even worse," Clarissa murmured. Victoria stood and walked to the window. "Look, ladies, let's be realistic. We're here to win over William and properly educate Mason. How can we do that with the help interfering?" "What are you suggesting?" asked Serena. "That we teach her some lessons about proper boundaries." "What kind of lessons?" Victoria smiled, but without any warmth. "She'll learn the difference between employer and employee, and she'll learn to stay in her place." In the study, William tried to work, but couldn't stop thinking about what he'd witnessed. Something felt off. He'd known wealthy people his entire life. He knew how they treated staff, how they maintained appearances, but the way these five treated Emily, it was excessive. On the other hand, he couldn't deny what he saw with Mason. In the 4 months since Emily arrived, the boy had transformed completely. Before, he barely spoke, hardly ate, lived in constant sadness. Now he smiled, played, seemed like a normal kid. A knock on the door. "Dad, can I come in?" "Of course, son." Mason entered in his pajamas with a paper in his hand. "Look what Em taught me to make today." He showed a perfect origami bird. "That's beautiful. She teaches well, doesn't she?" "She does. And you know what's the best part? She's patient. When I mess up, she doesn't get mad. She just explains it again. William pulled his son closer. "Mason, what did you think of the ladies today?" The boy thought for a moment. "They're pretty, Dad, and they brought cool gifts. But Em is nicer." "Why's that?" "Because I don't know. She's real." William frowned. "What do you mean?" "The others act different when you're around and when you're not. Em is always the same with me." His son's words left him thoughtful. Kids really could read people. "Dad, are you going to fire Em?" "Why would I do that?" "I don't know, I just got scared." William hugged him tighter. "Em's been working here for 4 months and you like her. Why would I fire her?" "Do you promise she'll stay?" "I promise." Mason smiled with relief and kissed his father's cheek. "Good night, Dad." After Mason left, William sat alone thinking. He needed to pay closer attention in the coming days. He was certain the peace of that night wouldn't last. Thursday. Emily came downstairs to start work and found the 5 women in the living room as if they'd been waiting for her. "Good morning," Emily said. Total silence, as if she were a ghost. Miranda was on the sofa when she accidentally spilled sugar on the floor. "Oh, how clumsy of me. Someone what's her name again, could clean this up." "It's Emily," said Vanessa, pretending to remember, "but it's hard to keep track of names of service staff." Emily picked up her cloth, but before she could finish, Serena bumped into a plant and knocked soil onto the clean carpet. "Oh my, how unlucky. You'll have to clean everything all over again." Mason came running down the stairs at that moment. "Good morning, everyone. Hi, Em." Emily's face brightened. "Good morning, sweetheart." "Why is there dirt on the floor?" Before Emily could answer, Victoria stepped forward. "Just a little accident, Mason. Your housekeeper will clean it right up." "It wasn't an accident," said Mason, looking directly at Serena. "I saw you knock it over on purpose." Awkward silence. The 5 exchanged glances. "Mason, darling," said Miranda, forcing a smile, "you must have seen wrong." "I didn't see wrong. You're being mean to Em." Victoria crouched to his level. "Listen, Mason, there are things children don't understand. We just want your house to be more properly organized." "Organized how?" "Each person in their proper place," Vanessa explained. "The help takes care of cleaning, and educated people take care of you." Mason frowned. "But Em takes good care of me." "She doesn't have the proper training for that," said Serena. "A child needs guidance from qualified people." "Em is qualified." "Mason," Victoria's voice became firmer, "you need to learn the difference between staff and family." The boy looked at Emily, who had stopped cleaning and was listening to everything. "Em, are they right?" Emily swallowed her tears. "Sweetheart, go have your breakfast. We'll talk later." But Mason didn't leave. "I like Em better than all of you," he said simply. The 5 women turned red with anger. Monday of the 2nd week. William had installed discreet cameras over the weekend. Now he was watching everything from his study, and what he saw made him furious. On the screen, he watched Clarissa hiding cleaning supplies from Emily. He saw Vanessa deliberately dirtying the bathroom she'd just cleaned. He saw Miranda purposely spilling coffee on the sofa. "Emily, get in here!" Victoria shouted on the screen. William watched Emily rush to the living room and find paint spilled across the marble floor. "What is this mess?" "I didn't do this," Emily said. "Then who did? The cleaning fairy?" "Someone spilled it on purpose," Victoria laughed sarcastically. "Now you're accusing us? How inappropriate. I just said that someone—" "Watch your accusations, dear. Staff can be terminated for insubordination." William clenched his fists watching the scene. He was about to go downstairs but decided to gather more evidence first. On the screen, he saw Mason appear. "What happened, Em?" "Nothing serious, sweetheart. Just an accident." "It wasn't an accident," said Mason, looking at the 5 women. "You did it on purpose again." "Mason!" said Serena, pretending to be shocked. "How can you talk like that?" "Because it's true. You're always being mean to Em." Victoria approached the boy. "Listen carefully, Mason. If you keep defending the help against us, you're going to have to choose which side you're on." "I already chose. I'm on Em's side." "Then you chose wrong," said Miranda coldly. Mason started to cry. Emily rushed to comfort him, but Vanessa blocked her path. "Let him cry. That's how he learns." That's when William couldn't take it anymore. He rushed downstairs. "What the hell is going on here?" Instantly, the 5 women changed their expressions. "Oh, William," said Victoria, smiling brightly. "Perfect timing. Mason's made a terrible confusion." "What confusion?" "He's accused us of being mean to your housekeeper." William looked at his crying son and Emily with her head down. "Mason, come here." The boy ran to his father. "Dad, they're being really mean to Em." "How so?" "They mess up everything she cleans, they hide her stuff, and they say I have to choose sides." William looked at the 5 candidates, all with innocent expressions. "Is this true?" "Of course not," said Vanessa, sounding offended. "These are just a child's fantasies." But William had seen everything through the cameras. He knew exactly who was lying. Wednesday. William called the 5 women for a discussion. "Ladies, I want to make something crystal clear. Any staff member in this house must be treated with respect." "Of course, William," said Victoria sweetly. "But respect goes both ways, doesn't it?" "What do you mean?" "Your housekeeper also needs to respect us," Miranda explained, "and stay in her place. Her place is taking care of the house, and she does that excellently." "But not just that," said Serena. "She interferes with Mason's education. That's not her job. Mason likes her." "What's the problem with that?" Vanessa stepped forward. "William, an orphaned child can develop excessive attachment to any maternal figure who appears. It's not healthy." "Are you questioning my judgment as a father?" "Never," said Vanessa quickly. "I'm just offering professional guidance. And what guidance is that? Maintaining healthy boundaries between Mason and the help." William felt anger rising, but controlled himself. "I'll think about what you've said." That afternoon, he personally called Emily's references. "Mrs. Patricia, this is William Whitmore. I wanted to ask about Emily Smith." "Oh, Emily, she's wonderful. She worked here for 2 years taking care of my twins. Never had a single problem." He called Dr. James. "Emily, one of the most honest employees I've ever had. Why do you ask?" He called 3 more families. All told the same story. Emily was honest, caring, hard-working. None had any complaints. Someone's lying through their teeth, William thought, and it's not Emily. That night at dinner, he observed the 5 candidates, smiling, polite, asking about his day. "How was work today?" asked Victoria. "Interesting," said William. "I made some calls, checking references." He saw a flash of nervousness in Vanessa's eyes. "References?" "For staff members. It's always good to verify backgrounds, right?" "Of course," said Miranda quickly. "You never know who you're dealing with." But William saw what he needed to see. Their reaction confirmed his suspicions. Someone was lying, and he was going to find out who. Friday. William's phone rang during a meeting at the company. "Will, it's Claire," his sister voice worried. "Hey, sis. What's this story I'm hearing about you?" "What story?" "Victoria Williams called me. She says you're having problems, that you're losing your mind over some housekeeper." William frowned. "Who's Victoria Williams?" "Famous attorney. Friend of Vanessa Harrington." Now it made sense. Vanessa was spreading rumors through her network of contacts. "Claire, I don't have any problems." "Are you sure? Because everyone's talking." An hour later, his business partner Robert called. "Will, we've got a problem." "What problem?" "Investors are nervous." Someone's been spreading word that you're making questionable decisions that could affect the business. What kind of decisions? Something about a housekeeper. Irregular situation. I didn't get the full story, but they want a meeting. William hung up, pissed off. The candidates were attacking his professional reputation. He arrived home determined to confront them, but found a scene that stopped him cold. Mason was crying in Emily's arms in the garden. "What happened?" William asked. "The ladies said Em is leaving," Mason sobbed. "Who said that?" "Victoria. She said housekeepers who don't know their place have to be fired." William looked at Emily. "Did she really say that?" "Yes, Mr. Whitmore, right in front of Mason." "Where are they?" "In the living room." William entered the house furious. The five were chatting animatedly, but stopped when they saw him. "William, how was your day?" asked Victoria, smiling. "Interesting, I got several calls today." "Oh, really?" "Yeah, people concerned about me, saying I'm having problems because of a housekeeper." Silence. The five exchanged quick glances. "How strange," said Miranda. "Who would say such a thing?" "Good question," said William, looking directly at Vanessa. "Who indeed?" Vanessa turned red. "I don't know. Maybe it's legitimate concern from friends. Or maybe someone's spreading lies." "William," said Victoria, standing up, "are you accusing us of something?" "I'm asking if you know anything about these rumors." "Of course not," said Serena, indignant. But William saw the lie in their eyes, and they saw that he saw it. War was officially declared. Sunday. William was in the garden when a man in a suit appeared. "Mr. William Whitmore?" "Yes?" "Michael Johnson, private investigator. I need to speak about your employee, Emily Smith." "Who hired you?" "Someone concerned about your family." The man showed a folder. "Mr. Whitmore, your housekeeper isn't who she appears to be." William took the documents. Reports about firings for theft, inappropriate behavior with children. "Where did these papers come from?" "Professional investigation." "Everything's official." William examined the documents. Something was off. The dates didn't line up right. Some stamps looked fake. "Let me ask you something," said William. "How much did they pay you to fabricate this?" The investigator got nervous. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Sure you do. These documents are fake, and I'm going to find out who hired you." "Mr. Whitmore, you're making a mistake." "The mistake was made by whoever thought I'd buy this bullshit." William tore up the papers in front of the man. "You can tell whoever hired you that it didn't work." After the investigator left, William entered the house. In the living room, he found the five women waiting anxiously. "So, William?" asked Victoria. "What did the investigator want? To try to fool me with fake documents?" The five went pale. "Document forgery is a crime," William continued. "Whoever did this could go to prison." Vanessa started sweating. "William, you can't think that we—" "I can, and I do." Victoria tried to maintain composure. "That's a very serious accusation. It's a fact. You hired that guy to make up lies about Emily." "You have no proof of that," said Miranda. William smiled. "Don't I?" He went to the computer and opened the camera footage. On the screen, Victoria appeared on the phone in the garden. "Yes, I need a complete file on Emily Smith. Make up problems at previous jobs." "How much?" "Perfect." The five were shocked watching the video. "I have everything recorded," said William coldly. "Every mean act, every lie, every sabotage." Victoria tried one last card. "William, we just want to protect you and Mason." "Bullshit. You just want to destroy an innocent person." Mason appeared in the doorway at that moment. "Dad, what's happening?" "Nothing serious, kiddo. I just found out who the bad guys are in this story." The boy looked at the five women. "It's them, isn't it, Dad?" "It's them, Mason." Victoria became furious. "This won't end like this. You'll regret this." But William wasn't scared anymore. He discovered the truth, and now he was going to get justice. Monday. William called Emily to talk. "Emily, I need to apologize to you." "Apologize? Why, Mr. Whitmore?" "For doubting you. For not protecting you from these women." Emily started crying. "You believe me?" "I always believed you. I just let myself get confused by their lies." "Mr. Whitmore, I would never hurt Mason. I love that little boy." "I know, and he loves you too." William showed her the camera footage. Emily was shocked seeing all the cruelty they'd done. "They did all this?" "Everything. And they also spread lies about you around town." "What are you gonna do?" "I'm gonna expose them. Publicly." "How?" William smiled. "I have a plan, but I need your help." "What do you need?" "For you to trust me, and to keep being the wonderful person you've always been." Emily smiled for the first time in weeks. "I trust you." "Great, because tomorrow we start our revenge." That night, the 5 candidates gathered in the living room. They were nervous. "He found out everything," said Vanessa. "Stay calm," said Victoria. "We still have cards to play." "What cards?" asked Miranda. "We're going to spread that he's lost his mind, that he's obsessed with the housekeeper. We're going to destroy his reputation completely." "What if it doesn't work?" asked Serena. "It will," said Victoria with an evil smile, "because tomorrow the real war begins." But they didn't know William was listening to everything through the camera, and he already had the perfect plan to finish them off once and for all. Wednesday. William spent the last 2 days organizing his counterattack. Now it was time to act. He called the first number on the list Emily had given him. "Hello, Mrs. Patricia. This is William Whitmore." "Do you know Emily Smith?" "Of course. Emily is wonderful. She worked here for 2 years taking care of my twins. Why do you ask?" "Just confirming references. Did you have any problems with her?" "Problems? On the contrary. When she left here, the whole family cried. The boys spent weeks asking when Aunt Em was coming back." William smiled. "And about honesty?" "Oh dear, that girl is pure gold. Once she found $800 that fell out of my purse and ran after me to return it." "A person with integrity like her is hard to find." He called Dr. James Anderson. "Doctor, do you know Emily Smith?" "Of course. She worked in my office for over a year." "Why?" "Any problems during that time?" "None. Exemplary employee. Patients loved her. Always polite, always punctual. When she asked to leave because her grandmother got sick, I even offered her a raise to stay." William called 3 more families. All told the same story. Emily was honest, caring, hard-working. None had any complaints. "Someone's lying their ass off," William thought, "and I know exactly who." That afternoon, he called Emily to his study. "Em, I need to tell you something. I called all your references." She tensed up. "And?" "They all praised you. Said you're the best employee they've ever had." Emily sighed with relief. "Thank you for checking, Mr. Whitmore." "Emily, I want to make you a proposal." "What kind of proposal?" William leaned back in his chair. "I want you to help me unmask these 5 women publicly." "How?" "I'm going to throw a party on the last day of the competition. I'm going to invite press, family, friends, and there in front of everyone I'm going to show who they really are." Emily's eyes lit up. "You're going to expose them?" "I am, but I need your help to pretend I still believe their lies." "I can do that." "Are you sure?" "They're going to try to humiliate you even more in the next few days." Emily lifted her chin. "Let them try." "Now I know you're on my side," William smiled. "I always was, Emily. Just took me a while to realize it." That night at dinner, William put on his act. "Ladies, I need to talk to you about Emily." The 5 perked up, thinking he was going to fire the housekeeper. "What about her, William?" said Victoria. "You were right about her. I called her references and discovered some inconsistencies." Vanessa could barely hide her smile. "What kind of inconsistencies?" "I'd rather not go into details in front of Mason," said William, looking at his son. "But you were right." "And what are you gonna do?" asked Miranda anxiously. "I'm thinking of firing her after the party on the last day." The five practically exploded with joy inside, but controlled themselves. "I think that's a wise decision," said Serena. "It's what's best for Mason," agreed Clarissa. But Mason, who was listening to everything, became desperate. "Dad, you can't fire Em. Mason, adults know what's best." The boy started crying. "No, Em can't leave." Emily, who was serving dinner, approached. "It's okay, sweetheart. Don't cry." "Emily," said William coldly, "please keep your distance from my son." Her eyes filled with fake tears. "Yes, sir." The five candidates exchanged victorious glances. Finally, they'd succeeded, but they didn't know it was all perfect acting. Friday. William pretended to leave for work, but secretly returned home. He wanted to record a conversation between the five without them knowing. He hid in his study and turned on the camera system. On the screen, he saw the women celebrating in the living room. "Ladies, we did it," said Victoria, raising a champagne glass. "Finally," celebrated Miranda. "That bitch is leaving." "The plan worked perfectly," said Vanessa. "The fake investigator, the forged documents, the rumors spread around town." "And the best part," added Serena, "is that William thinks it was his idea to fire her." Clarissa laughed loudly. "Men are so easy to manipulate." William recorded everything but wanted more confessions. He called the house intercom, pretending to be someone from the street. "Excuse me, is anyone there?" Victoria answered. "Who is it?" William changed his voice. "I'm a reporter from the local paper. I'd like to talk about the situation with the housekeeper in this house." "There's what situation?" "We heard she's being fired for behavioral problems." The five looked at each other excitedly. It was a chance to spread more lies. "You can come in," said Victoria. William hung up the intercom and kept recording. The five thought the reporter wasn't going to show up and started talking among themselves. "If any real journalist comes here," said Vanessa, "we'll tell them she tried to seduce William." "And that she manipulated the boy," added Miranda. "We can say she was stealing small things from the house," suggested Serena. "Or that she mistreated Mason when the father wasn't around," completed Clarissa. Victoria smiled maliciously. "We're going to make up so much that she'll never get a job with a wealthy family again." William couldn't believe what he was hearing. Their cruelty had no limits. "And after she's gone," Victoria continued, "we're going to launch a campaign to destroy her reputation completely." "How?" asked Vanessa. "We're going to spread on social media that she's a con artist, that she seduces rich employers by pretending to care about their children." "That'll ruin her life," said Miranda. "Exactly," Victoria responded coldly. "She'll learn not to mess with people like us." William felt disgusted. These women weren't just prejudiced, they were cruel and vindictive. He saved all the recordings and smiled. "Now I have enough ammunition to destroy you," he thought. That afternoon, he called a journalist friend. "Christopher, it's William. I need a favor." "What's up, Will?" "You interested in doing a story about class prejudice?" "I've got an incredible story to tell you." "Absolutely. What's it about?" "5 socialites trying to destroy a humble housekeeper, and I have it all recorded." "Seriously? This'll be the story of the year." "Then mark Sunday down. I'm throwing a party and you're going to film everything." William hung up satisfied. Revenge was being prepared to perfection. Sunday, William pretended to be increasingly convinced that Emily was a problem. During lunch, he put on more theatre. "Ladies, I have news about Emily's situation. Tell us, said Victoria eagerly. I've scheduled a party for the last day of the competition. I'm going to officially announce which one of you I've chosen to marry. How exciting, said Miranda. And the housekeeper, asked Vanessa. I'm going to fire her in front of everyone. That way she'll serve as an example to other staff who don't know their place. The five could barely contain their joy. It'll be perfect, said Serena. Justice finally being done, agreed Clarissa. Mason, who was listening, ran from the table crying. William pretended not to care. He'll understand when he grows up, he told the candidates. Later, William found Mason crying in his room with Emily trying to console him. Why is Daddy being like this, Em? I don't know, sweetheart. Sometimes adults do things we don't understand. Are you really leaving? Emily looked at William, who signaled for her to keep acting. Maybe it's for the best, Mason. Your father knows what's best for you. No, he doesn't. You're good to me. Sweetheart, you need to obey your father. Mason hugged Emily, crying. I don't want you to leave. William felt his heart tighten seeing his son suffering, but knew it was necessary. Soon, everything would be resolved. That night, the five candidates gathered to make final preparations. Ladies, we did it, said Victoria. In 8 days, that bitch will be out on the street. And one of us will be the new Mrs. Whitmore, added Miranda. Who do you think he'll choose? Asked Vanessa. Doesn't matter, said Serena. The important thing is, we won. Let's celebrate, suggested Clarissa. They opened an expensive bottle of champagne from William's wine cellar and toasted. To our victory, said Victoria. And to the downfall of the little housekeeper, Miranda added. They all laughed loudly, not knowing they were being recorded. William, watching everything from his study, shook his head. Laugh while you can, he murmured, because in 8 days you're gonna find out who really won this war. Tuesday. The candidates decided to accelerate Emily's reputation destruction before the final party. Miranda called a friend who worked for a high society gossip website. Hey, Jessica, it's Miranda. I've got a hot story for you. Spill it. There's a housekeeper who's trying to seduce her millionaire boss, William Whitmore, you know him. The businessman? Of course. Tell me everything. The housekeeper is manipulating his son to get the guy to marry her. It's a scandal. Can I publish this? Absolutely. But don't say I told you, okay? Within hours, the story was online. Gold-digging housekeeper tries to seduce millionaire boss using orphaned child. The article claimed Emily Smith was psychologically manipulating Mason Whitmore to get his wealthy father to marry her. They made up that she was giving the child expensive gifts and bad-mouthing the qualified candidates the father had chosen. William saw the story on his computer and pretended to be furious. Victoria, get in here. She rushed to his study. What's wrong, William? Did you see this article online? Victoria put on a surprised face. What article? About Emily. It says she's trying to seduce me using Mason. Oh my God, that's outrageous, said Victoria, feigning indignation. Who would have the nerve to spread such lies? I don't know, but now the whole city's gonna know what kind of person she is. Maybe it's better to fire her today, Victoria suggested, before she causes more problems. No, I'll wait for the party. I want everyone to see her being humiliated publicly. Victoria smiled inside. The plan was working perfectly. But William was just acting. In reality, he'd already discovered that Miranda was friends with the journalist who published the article. One more piece of evidence, he thought. On Sunday, you're all gonna pay for everything. That afternoon, Emily came home crying. Some neighbors had seen the story and treated her badly on the street. Mr. Whitmore, she said with a broken voice, people are talking about me on the street. What kind of things? that I'm a gold digger, that I'm trying to marry you for money." William kept a serious expression. "And do you feel capable of continuing to work under these conditions?" I don't know. Because if you want to leave before the party—" "No," Emily said quickly. "I want to stay until the end. I want to prove I'm innocent." "All right, but from now on, keep your distance from Mason. I don't want any more problems." Emily agreed, but inside she was anxious. Only 6 days left until the truth party. Mason, who had heard the conversation while hiding, ran to his room crying. He didn't understand why his father was being so cruel to the only person who really cared about him. Don't leave," he whispered alone in his room. "Please, don't leave." Thursday, the public pressure became unbearable for Emily. When she arrived at work, she found a note stuck to the gate. "Gold digger, get out of here." On her way to the mansion, 3 neighbors avoided her on the street. One even crossed to the other side when she saw her. Inside the house, the 5 candidates increased their humiliations. "Look who's here," said Miranda when Emily entered. "Our internet celebrity." "Everyone's talking about you," added Vanessa. "How famous?" "Must be nice being known as a gold digger," Serena completed. Emily endured it silently and went to work. But during lunch, she couldn't take it anymore. She sat in the bathroom and cried for 15 straight minutes. She grabbed her phone and wrote a message to William. "Mr. Whitmore, I can't handle this situation anymore. Maybe it's better if I leave before the party. I don't want to cause more problems for you and Mason." She sent the message and kept crying. William read it and got worried. He rushed to the bathroom where she was. "Emily, open the door." "I'm fine, Mr. Whitmore." "Open the door, please." She opened it. Her eyes were red from crying so much. "You can't give up now," William said quietly. "I can't take it anymore, Mr. Whitmore. People look at me like I'm a criminal. Emily, listen carefully to what I'm going to say. In 4 days, all this humiliation will be worth it." "How?" "Trust me. On Sunday, you're going to get the revenge you deserve." "But what if—" "No buts. You've made it this far. Hold on 4 more days." Emily took a deep breath. "All right. I trust you." "Perfect. Now go wash your face and keep working. On Sunday, they're going to find out who's really screwed in this story." That afternoon, Mason looked for Emily in the garden. Is it true you're leaving Sunday?" Emily looked at the boy with her heart heavy. "I don't know, sweetheart. It depends on your father. I don't want you to leave. I don't want to either." "Then stay." "It's not that simple, Mason." The boy hugged her, crying. "If you leave, I'm leaving too." "Don't say that, sweetheart. Your place is here with your father." "My place is wherever you are." Emily felt tears in her eyes. She didn't know how William was going to resolve this situation, but she hoped his plan would work, because if it didn't work, she was going to lose not just her job, but also the boy she loved like a son. Friday, 3 days left until the party, and William organized the final details. He called his journalist friend. "Christopher, Sunday's the big day." "I'm pumped, Will. This is going to be the story of the year. You'll arrive at 2 in the afternoon. The party starts at 3. And the evidence? I've got everything. Videos, audios, documents. These women are going to be completely exposed." "Can't wait." William also called his family. "Sis, there's a party at my place Sunday." "Is this the new wife selection?" asked Claire. "It is. And you're going to get one hell of a surprise." "What kind of surprise?" "You'll find out Sunday. But I guarantee it'll be worth it." During the day, the 5 candidates prepared as if it were the most important day of their lives. Each one still believed she could be the chosen one. "Ladies," said Victoria, "Sunday, one of us is going to become Mrs. Whitmore." And the little housekeeper is going to leave here humiliated in front of everyone, added Miranda. I can't wait to see her face, Vanessa laughed. But they didn't know William was preparing a very different surprise than they imagined. That afternoon, he called Emily for a final conversation. Emily, tomorrow's the dress rehearsal. Dress rehearsal? I'm going to pretend I chose one of them to marry. You're going to have to pretend you're devastated. Which one are you going to pretend you chose? Victoria, she's the group leader. And on Sunday, William smiled, on Sunday, you're going to get the biggest revenge of your life. I'm scared, Mr. Whitmore. Scared of what? What if the plan doesn't work? What if people believe them? Emily, you saw the evidence I have. Videos, audios, confessions. It's impossible for them to deny it. And Mason, how's he going to react? Mason's going to be happy, because in the end, you're not leaving. You're going to stay here with us. Emily smiled for the first time that week. Thank you for believing in me, Mr. Whitmore. Thank you for not giving up on us, Emily. That night, William talked to Mason. Son, tomorrow there's going to be a party. I know, and you're going to fire Em, said Mason sadly. Mason, I need you to trust me. How? Tomorrow things might happen that you won't understand, but in the end, everything's going to work out. Em's not leaving? William hugged his son. Em's not going anywhere. Mason smiled hopefully. Promise? Promise. And William knew he was going to keep that promise, because on Sunday the truth was going to come out, and justice was finally going to be served. Sunday, 3 in the afternoon. The mansion was packed with people. William had invited family, friends, neighbors, and even some journalists. Everyone wanted to see who would be chosen. The 5 candidates arrived looking stunning. Expensive dresses, perfect makeup, confident smiles. They knew one of them was going to leave there as a fiancé. Today's our day, Victoria whispered to the others. One of us is going to get rich, agreed Miranda excitedly. And that housekeeper's going to leave humiliated, Vanessa completed. William watched everything from a distance, his stomach in knots. Christopher, his journalist friend, was already there with his camera ready. Is this going to work? Asked Christopher quietly. I hope so, William replied nervously. Mason was in his room, refusing to come down. Emily tried to convince him. Sweetheart, your father said everything's going to work out. What if it doesn't? What if you really leave? Then we'll always remember the love we had, okay? At 4 o'clock, William asked for attention. Everyone, thank you for coming. Today's a special day. The 5 positioned themselves next to him, all smiling. As you know, these women spent 30 days here, and now... William paused and looked directly at the cameras. Before I announce my decision, I want to share some things I discovered. Victoria frowned. This wasn't in the script. I discovered that not everything that seems true is true. William, interrupted Miranda nervously, how about we go straight to the announcement? But this is part of the announcement, said William, turning on a large screen. I discovered there are people capable of lying and even forging documents to get what they want. The 5 went pale when the first recording started. On the screen, Victoria's voice, the fake investigator, worked perfectly. Total silence. Everyone looked at Victoria, who turned red. That's doctored, she stammered. Is it? Asked William, playing the second video. Now it was Miranda on the phone. There's a housekeeper trying to seduce her millionaire boss. The crowd started murmuring. Miranda tried to explain, I was protecting William. Protecting? Said William. Check out more of this protection. The third video showed Vanessa. Let's make up that she was stealing things from the house. The fourth, Serena, we can say she mistreated Mason. The fifth, Clarissa, she'll learn not to mess with people like us. The entire party was in shock. People filming with their phones, whispering, pointing. People! Screamed Victoria desperately. You don't understand. We did this for their own good. For my own good, asked William coldly. Forging documents was for my own good. The housekeeper was manipulating you, Vanessa tried. Which housekeeper? This one? William gestured and Emily appeared in the doorway, simple in her uniform but with her head held high. Everyone, this is Emily Smith. For 30 days these 5 tried to destroy her life. Everyone looked at Emily with curiosity. They made up that she had a criminal record. They made up that she mistreated my son. All lies. But why would they do that? Someone asked. William smiled bitterly. Because my 8-year-old son preferred a humble housekeeper to them. That's ridiculous, Victoria exploded. A child doesn't know what's best. Doesn't he? Mason, come down here. Mason appeared, shy but determined. He came down and went straight to Emily. Son, during these 30 days, who took the best care of you? Mason looked at the 5, then at Emily. Em. Why? Because she loves me for real. She's not fake, and she makes the best sandwiches in the world. Some people laughed affectionately. And what would you want to happen? Mason looked at his father hopefully. I want Em to stay forever, and those ladies to go away because they're mean. The entire audience turned to the 5 candidates who were dying of shame. Now you know the truth, William told the crowd, but the biggest surprise was still to come. William turned to the people and said, I want you to know the truth about Emily too. He grabbed a folder and started reading. Emily Smith, 25 years old, worked for the Harris family for 2 years taking care of twins. The mother said she was the best employee she ever had. Worked for Dr. James Anderson for a year. He offered her a raise so she wouldn't leave. Took care of the grandmother in the Davis family. They said she treated the elderly woman like her own family. With each reference, the audience became more impressed. In all these jobs, Emily was described as honest, caring, and hardworking. Emily was crying, but now with relief. So when my 8-year-old son said he preferred her to 5 wealthy women, I should have listened from day one. Because a child doesn't lie about love. A child feels who's real. The crowd applauded. Several people were moved. Emily, said William, turning to her, I want to apologize to you in front of everyone. You don't need to. Yes, I do. I doubted you. I believed lies instead of believing what I saw every day. William took her hands. You took care of my son when he needed it most. You brought joy to our home. Thank you for believing in me in the end, said Emily, sobbing. No. Thank you for not giving up on us. Victoria, who had been quiet, exploded. This is absurd. You're making a scene over a housekeeper. The phrase echoed through the hall. Everyone looked at her with ugly expressions. A housekeeper, William repeated. Listen carefully to that phrase. To these 5, Emily is worth less because she cleans house. She's not worth less because she's poor. She's not worth less because she doesn't have a degree. But to them, that makes her inferior. It's not about being inferior, Vanessa tried. It's about social compatibility. Social compatibility, shouted Claire, William's sister. You humiliated an innocent person for that. Shame on you, shouted another guest. The 5 were being surrounded by general anger, people filming, and they knew it was going to end up on social media. We're leaving, said Victoria, trying to maintain composure. Great idea, William agreed. And don't come back. Christopher approached with the camera. Ladies, any comments? No comment, said Miranda, covering her face. Get out of the way, shouted Vanessa, pushing the camera. The 5 left the party with everyone shouting, shame. When the door closed, the entire party applauded. William turned to Emily and Mason. Now let's get to the most important part. With the 5 out of the house, the atmosphere changed completely. Everyone was excited, talking about what they'd witnessed. William asked for attention again. Everyone, when I organized this competition, I thought I knew what was best for my son. I thought fancy education, money, and status were what mattered. He looked at Mason and Emily. "But my son taught me there are much more important things." "Mason," said William, kneeling down, "you spent 30 days with 5 candidates. They all offered to be your mom. Now it's time for you to choose." The ballroom fell into complete silence. "Among these 5 women who left here, which one do you choose to be your new mom?" Mason looked at his father with bright eyes. "None of them, Dad." "None? They're fake. They don't really like me." The audience murmured approval. "So, what do you want?" Mason looked at Emily, who was holding her breath. "I want Em as my mom." The ballroom exploded in applause and cheers. "But Mason," said William, putting on a show, "Em wasn't in the competition. She's our employee." "I don't care," said Mason firmly. "She's the one who takes care of me. She's the one who loves me. She's the one who makes me laugh when I'm sad. And if you marry her, she won't be an employee anymore. She'll be my mom." Emily was crying so hard she could barely breathe. "Mason," she said, kneeling down, "sweetheart, your father might not want—" "I do want to," interrupted William. Emily looked up, surprised. "I do want to," repeated William loudly. "I choose you too, Emily." "What do you mean?" William took her hand in front of everyone. "During these 30 days, I wasn't just seeing who would be a good mother for Mason. I was seeing who would be a good wife for me. And you, Emily Smith, are the most honest, most caring, and most genuine woman I've ever met." The crowd was in emotional silence. "You don't have money, but you have character. You don't have a diploma, but you have wisdom. You don't have status, but you have love. And love is all a family needs." Emily was sobbing. "Mr. William, I'm just a housekeeper." "You're so much more than that," he said, wiping the tears from her face. "You saved my son from sadness. You're the woman I fell in love with." The entire party was emotional. Several people were crying. "Emily Smith," said William, pulling out a small box from his pocket, "will you marry me?" The ballroom was in complete suspense. Emily looked at William, then at Mason, then at all those people. "I will," she said through sobs. The party exploded. Applause, cheers, whistles. Mason jumped into her arms, shouting, "Now you're my mom!" William put the ring on and kissed her in front of everyone. "Long live the family," someone shouted. Christopher was filming everything. "Story of the year," he murmured, and it really was. After the congratulations, William asked to speak one more time. "Everyone, I want to explain why I'm making this choice." The party calmed down. 8 months ago, when my wife died, I thought I would never love anyone again. Mason fell into depression. He stopped eating, playing, smiling. I didn't know what to do anymore. William looked at Emily with gratitude. Then this woman came to our house, simple, humble, with no pretensions. In 1 week, Mason was smiling again. In 1 month, playing. In 2, happy. And I started to realize it wasn't just Mason who was changing. William held Emily's hand. I was falling in love with the way she cared for my son, with her patience, with her genuine affection. I fell in love with her simplicity, her honesty, the way she didn't pretend to be what she wasn't. Emily was emotional listening. During these 30 days, 5 women tried to win me over with luxury, trips, promises of status. But Emily won me over with something much more valuable, true love. Love for me and for my son, without interest, without pretense. The audience was moved. "Emily," said William, turning to her, "I know our social difference might generate comments, but I don't care, because for the first time in 8 months, I feel complete." "Do you really want to marry me?" asked Emily, still insecure. "I do," said William firmly. "I want to start a family with you and Mason. I want you to be my wife, mother to my son, and if God allows, mother to the children we'll still have." Emily blushed. "William, "You can call me Honey now," he said, smiling. The entire party laughed and applauded. Mason jumped into the conversation. Now you can help me with homework every day." "I can, my son," said Emily, hugging him. "My son," she repeated. "I never thought I'd be able to say that." "Now you can," said William. "He's yours as much as mine." Claire approached. "Emily, I want to apologize." "For what?" "Because when I heard the rumors, I believed them. I judged you without knowing you. Today I saw who you really are. My brother couldn't have made a better choice." "Welcome to the family," said Claire, hugging Emily. Other relatives approached to congratulate them. "You're an example," said Dr. Robert. "You showed that love has no social class." The party continued until late, everyone celebrating the love that defeated evil. On Monday, Christopher's story aired and went viral. "Socialites invent lies to destroy housekeeper" was the headline. The party video was watched by millions. The comments were harsh for the 5 women. "What horrible women! Money without character. The housekeeper is worth more than the 5 combined." Victoria woke up to several calls, some clients cancelling, friends distancing themselves. "Victoria, it's Patricia. Sorry, but I'll have to cancel your invitation to my wedding." "Patricia, please. I can't have someone who humiliates employees at my party." Miranda lost thousands of followers. Some brands cancelled contracts. "We can't be associated with prejudiced behavior," said one email. Vanessa started being questioned at work. Some clients sought other lawyers. Serena saw some patients cancelling. "I don't want someone who mistreats children taking care of my daughter." Clarissa had some projects postponed. "We don't trust someone who makes up lies," said a client. The 5, who thought they were powerful, discovered that society didn't like their behavior. In contrast, Emily became a symbol of dignity. She received hundreds of supportive messages. Other housekeepers felt represented. "You showed that we're worth as much as any rich lady," wrote one. "Thank you for not backing down," said another. William was also praised for choosing love over status. "Congratulations for showing that a real man values character," they commented. A week later, the 5 met at a coffee shop, all upset. "It complicated our lives," said Victoria. "Because of an employee," murmured Miranda. "It was our fault," admitted Vanessa. "We went too far." "Now everyone sees us as villains," lamented Serena. "And the worst part is, they're not wrong," concluded Clarissa. "We were cruel." Meanwhile, at the mansion, life had completely changed. Emily was no longer an employee. She was a fiancée and future mother. "I can't believe this is real," she told William in the garden. "It is real, and it's going to get even better." William smiled. "Just wait until you see what our life together will be like." 3 months later, on a sunny Saturday morning, the same mansion now hosted a simple and emotional wedding. Emily looked beautiful in a simple white dress. She didn't want excessive luxury. She wanted something that showed who she really was. William waited for her at the improvised altar in the garden, with Mason beside him as ring-bearer. "Mom," said Mason, pulling at her dress, "you look beautiful." "Thank you, my son," replied Emily, still getting emotional over that word. The ceremony was intimate, just family and true friends. None of the pomp William used to do. "William," asked the judge, "do you take Emily as your wife?" "I do," he said, looking into her eyes. "Forever." "Emily, do you take William as your husband?" "I do," she said emotionally, "with all my heart." "And you, Mason," said the judge, smiling, "do you accept Emily as your mother?" "I do, I do, I do," shouted Mason, making everyone laugh. "Then I pronounce you husband, wife, and son." The small crowd applauded. William kissed Emily while Mason hugged them. "Now we're a real family," said the boy. "We always were," replied Emily, "from the first day." 6 months later, another joy. Emily was expecting a baby. "William," she said nervously, "you're going to be a father again." William was shocked, then shouted with joy and picked her up. "Really? Really?" she said, laughing. Mason, listening secretly, came running out. "I'm going to have a little sibling." When their daughter was born, Helena, Mason didn't want to leave the crib. "She's so tiny," he said, amazed. "You were like that too," said Emily. "Mom, thank you for coming to our family." "Thank you for accepting me, my son." William watched emotionally. His family was complete. 2 years later, they were in the garden on a Sunday afternoon. Mason was playing with Helena, who was already walking. William and Emily watched happily. "Em," said William, "do you regret anything?" "What?" "Accepting to work here. Going through all that." Emily looked at the house where the children were playing. "Never," she said. "If I hadn't gone through that, I wouldn't have this family. It was worth all the suffering." William kissed her under the afternoon sun. "I love you, Emily Whitmore." "I love you too, my husband." And they lived happily, proving that true love knows no social class difference. Love that comes from a pure heart is stronger than any prejudice. When we choose to truly love, it doesn't matter where we came from, but where we're going together. Did you like this story? Do you think Emily deserved to be Mason's new mum? Tell me in the comments. Until the next story.